Terry Threadgill, and this is Emma Kira Weird.
Hi,
And
this is Runa.
that's Runa. She's making sure we don't screw up this video for the 20th time. And tonight we're going to go over a few questions that have been asked of her over and over again for posterity now.
To help kind of clear up some of the maybe misconceptions or kind of get a general information out there. Hopefully it won't be too long. There's what, 10, 15 questions, something like that?
Something like that.
So we'll try and go through them. You're not going to get to know everything about Seidhr through this, but it will give you a little information. And as always, I would encourage you to comment below, and I will be more than happy to try and answer any of your questions that you may have as we go along.
So, in proper YouTube fashion, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe so that you know what's going on in the future. Okay. So, our first question is your most common and most dreaded question.
Yes, it is.
What's a Seidhr?
So the short answer that I usually give people, and it causes more questions, is it's everything and it's nothing all at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah, nobody knows what to do with that. So
Right.
what I mean by that is it is, for lack of better terms, we'll call it Norse shamanism.
Okay.
So most people tend to believe that, oh, that's a Native American thing. Well, there was shamanism practiced all over the world long before Christianity was, by many different indigenous people for many different reasons and throughout history.
Okay, so this is not a New Age thing then.
Absolutely not. It is reconstructed, and that's about as close to New Age as it gets. It is delving and diving deeper into very ancient tradition, very ancient magics, if you will, medicines, practices, that sort of thing.
Okay. So then you're a witch, you're not a witch, you're a shaman,
Okay, so I've been called a witch, I've been called a Valkyrie, I've been called a Seidhr, I've been called a Vulva, a Vulspa, whatever label. It doesn't matter to me. I've been called an oracle, a prophetess, a mystic, whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm not hung up on labels, and I would absolutely advise anyone following a similar path or this path to not limit themselves or their practice based upon a label.
Okay. Okay. So we've kind of got a little bit more of a information kind of what a Seidhr is. Ish. So who can be a Seidhr? Men, women, animal, vegetable, mineral?
To my knowledge, as far as let's say humans, since you mentioned animal, mineral, vegetable.
Okay. Well, some people are.
Well, that's their path, and whatever. Different strokes for different folks. I do not practice anything that cannot be taught to anyone, period. And it doesn't matter if you're male, female, it doesn't matter what race you are. Some people look at that as a universalist faith or a fluffy bunny. I can tell you I am not a fluffy bunny person. I am very blunt. I am very straightforward as much as I possibly can be and know how to be. I do not sugarcoat things. There's not a need for it. To me, it is a waste of time and energy. The truth is the truth.
So there's no reason to go back 20 centuries back to your ancestors' ancestors' ancestor who might have been related to somebody to be a Seidhr.
Um, Lineage is nice to know for your own personal knowledge and history and connecting when, for example, if you're in some sort of rite or ritual or ceremony where you are trying to connect with someone specifically.
Okay.
Then it comes in handy. Other than that, I call them puppy papers. I don't care. I don't care what they are.
Okay.
Father
Mhm.
did not inherently have the knowledge of Seidhr magic.
Right.
He was taught it. He was taught by Freya.
Mhm.
So number one, men are allowed right there.
Okay.
Number two, your geographical location or your race does not matter because Freya was part of the Vanir and Odin being part of the Aesir.
Right. Okay.
So if they can cross those lines and it's okay for them, why would they expect me to act differently?
Okay. That makes sense. Other shaman, witches, practitioners of any type, even your base people who come around and go, okay, I just want to learn.
Mhm.
How would you know if this is right for you?
Um, you know, my first instinct, um, and I guess my first piece of advice then would be to learn to trust your instincts. Um, I'm not going to look at somebody and say, you know what, you're Seidhr, or you know what, you're not. It is a lifelong path. So it's not something that is taken as a fad. You
Okay.
know, you're not going to become Seidhr and drop 50 pounds in a month. Okay. So it's not a fad. It's a life. It's not just a religion. It is a life. Um, it is when I wake up in the morning and when I go to sleep and everything in between those times. I am Seidhr.
Okay. So, so what's the purpose of a Seidhr then?
To serve the community primarily.
Okay, when you say to serve the community, do you mean like on a plate? What do you mean? What do they do?
Interesting. That has potential. I like it. Let's keep it. So, no, to serve the community, I learned a long time ago, one of the many lessons that I learned, I should say, um, from one particular person who was not heathen, um, spoke to me and he said, you know what? I am not in service to just people who are my students or who believe in what I do. I am in service to all people.
Okay. Well, let- let's put it this way. What what kind of duties, goals?
Excuse me.
What is it that you do then?
Okay.
I mean, what type of role do you play?
The scary old hag in the hut just outside of the village.
Okay, well, I'm
Kind
married
of
to you,
fit the
so I'm
part,
not
so.
going to call you a hag today on camera where you can see it.
And that's because you want to live. I
Right.
get it. Yeah.
Yes. Double bellet on it, right? So, say there wear many hats.
Yeah.
Basically, what I'm asking is, what are some of those hats?
Okay, sure. So midwife, death doula, herbologist. I work with animals as well. Trance.
Mhm.
The seed is
The high right.
yes. Yes, yes, it is a wonderful experience, and anybody who hasn't experienced it, um, of course, do your research and make sure that you know a little bit about it and what is supposed to be going on, so that you can kind of make sure that you are in the right place. All of my students know intent, intent, intent. So there's my little plug on that. But let's see, also the lore and the history. Um, gosh, now I'm trying to think of what all the coursework are. There's 9 different courses that I offer. Um, oh, sex magic, which also leads into counseling um, for relationships and stuff like that. Path working. So you learn to go through the shadow side of stuff. You also learn many different healing arts, for example, Reiki.
Okay.
How to work with stones. I am not particularly gifted in that area, but I know enough that I can get through it.
Okay.
So there are things that even I'm not good at. Believe me, there are a lot of things. The list is long.
I really am glad this is on video.
And I am not always right. There, now your world is made.
So is this a full-time job then, with all the different stuff you have to do, including the death doula thing? So you go out.
Oh yeah, and then there's namings, the blessings, and yeah.
Right.
Now it all comes back to me. Right. Full-time job. No, actually, I have a full-time job right now. I am Seidhr to your wonderful kindred, Reithar Oakweird, which I am so over the moon proud of. You guys have, wow, like there aren't words.
We're still kicking and screaming our way through it.
Yeah. Right, but well, I did it that way too, so you're not alone. And hopefully many more kindreds to come as well. We've got a lot of projects going on through there, some of which I can talk about and some of which I can't, so we'll just keep it
Your course, though. How about is that a long course? I know
It's 3 years.
It's 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay. I saw the price on that, and it kind of threw me off.
$450. It is a lot of money. That is for a full 3 years.
Okay. And then this is one-on-one-ish. I mean, do you have to fill out workbooks? Do you have to plug the things into the doodads?
Yes, to all of that. So the course is not offered online. The reason for that is because I am looking for especially dedicated students. Now that doesn't mean you're going to come to my house and be my slave for all 3 years, okay? Or even 1. Sorry, you don't get any slaves this time. But what it does mean is I want people that are dedicated. What I am looking for and the goal of this program that I am launching is to give people enough basic knowledge that they can produce their own Seidhr practice and not only breathe new, fresh, vital life into this practice, but also so that more community can be served.
Okay. One more question on that. So does that mean you have to pay $450 up front, or is it like?
I've broke it down so that over the course of 3 years, there are 9 courses total, so it's 3 courses a year.
Okay.
And each one of those is $50, so you do have the option of paying per year if that makes it easier.
Okay.
You do have the option of paying per course. Now, the shortest time frame is going to be 3 years. If you can only commit to doing one of those, then it may take you 9 years. That is up to you and
Right.
how you want to do it.
Okay. So, couple questions. And this is from a pagan standpoint. So, do you do actual sacrifices or?
Yes, it was far more common than it is now. I am not opposed to it. I have taken animal life before. It's not for sport. It's not for game. It is in extreme dire. There are other ways and other means. For example, if you need a blood sacrifice, that you can go about it in modern day. Back then, it was far more common, and was, for example, feast or famine kind of situations.
Right.
And to take a life, not only are you paying honor and respect to it, but then through the blessings of the land, the animal, the ancestors, and the gods, all of that animal is used, or as much as absolutely possible. So it does not go to waste. So it is not out there and done just for sport or to say that it is a sacred right to do and should be held in that regard.
So it's not something done lightly or just for fun or anything else, and you do take care to make sure that it's done in a respectful, tasteful way.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So, do you have to be a heathen to learn Seidhr? Like, and somebody that follows.
Well, it certainly helps.
Okay.
I think it helps with the connections.
Okay.
Especially when you're talking about the history and the lore. And one of the things that I found is once you start asking questions and you go, well, why did these people believe this? Well, what made the Romans believe in the gods and the deities that they believed in? Like,
Right.
What is the story behind it? What's the backstory? Excuse me. Once you get to that point and start asking these questions and digging, it's really hard to turn away from it and say, well, that doesn't make sense to me.
Is this considered an esoteric traditional practice, or is it modern or something else? Because you said it's not New Age.
Right, it's not New Age. It's reconstructed. Diving into those old roots and those old traditions while breathing new life into it and bringing it and applying it to a more modern lifestyle, if you will.
Okay. So, how is this different from other practices?
How is this different from other practices? Well, I don't know any other practices that really deal with Odin. I mean, we could start there. It has the Norse pantheon, is what I'm getting at. It's similar to a lot of things. And I think when you focus too much on differences, you end up dividing things. And while I think it's important to recognize, for example, a difference of opinion, I think it's more important to recognize the similarities. We're people that recognized, hey, we're different, but hey, you got cool shit. So we want to know how we can have cool shit too.
Okay.
So I think that's the bottom line, is always being open to learning and exploring.
Okay. So does it only take like 3 years of study to become a Seidhr?
No, lifetime. I'm still learning. I'm still educating myself. I'm still working on myself. There's constant progress, constant motivation and inspiration and all these wonderful, cool things. I didn't just sign up because I wanted to be a Viking. I'll be honest. I that wasn't my motivation.
So you've been doing this for a while.
Decades.
Okay.
Close to half a century, something like that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're kind of out of time for the moment, but we want to know what you have to ask.
Please, yes.
And in the whole YouTube fashion, like, follow, share, all that stuff. But mostly just let us know what you want to know so that when or if we do a follow-up video, when we do a follow-up video,
right,
you might get your answers.
Yeah.
For now.
So for now, please, if you have any questions, please, 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 please ask away. If I don't know the answer, I will be more than happy to go on the journey to discovery with you. And I look forward to hearing from you soon. Bye.
Still offering to the drum machine, putting out a face on my heart. The stars in the stream and color, the absolute.